If you watched my recap of the game yesterday, you will know that I did not watch the game. I listened to it on the radio. And they made no mention that offsides penalty was closer than it seemed. And when I took a look at that play, I couldn't believe my eyes. Jack Jones was not offsides on that last play. He timed it absolutely perfectly. If anything, it's a 50-50 ball. And the refs decided to end a season on a 50-50 offsides on a field goal that he didn't even block. And then the pass interference, the one thing I will say about the pass interference is, was it uncatchable in terms of this is the sign for uncatchable, right? They do this, meaning ball so far over his head, whatever. There's no way on God's green earth that if you throw the ball exactly the way Gardner Minshew threw it, with no defender on the field, that he was able to catch that football. Which means, by definition, that is an uncatchable football. Just because it doesn't go 60 yards over somebody's head does not mean it's uncatchable. That does not dictate uncatchable. Uncatchable means, is it possible to catch if there was no defender there? And it wasn't. Why am I here today? To tell you that they were terrible calls, you know this. Is there a conspiracy to eliminate the Raiders from the playoffs? Did these two plays cost us a playoff spot? Did these two plays cost us the Colts game? No. Guys, they didn't. I don't want to come here and tell you that your feelings toward these two plays costing us a playoff spot are wrong, so I'm not going to do that. What I will say is this. I don't see anyone today complaining about the Raiders losing 3-0 to a second and third string quarterback. The refs got those plays wrong without a doubt, but we lost to the Minnesota Vikings 3-0, coming off a bye, in a dome, in front of a home crowd. That was the moment we lost our season. Not because of a 50-50 offsides play or a 50-50 pass interference play. Although I do admit fully, I don't think those calls were made correctly. I do not think Jack Jones was offsides. That doesn't guarantee that we go down and score. That doesn't guarantee that we win in overtime. There were multiple times throughout the Colts game, having watched it back, where Aiden O'Connell missed a lot of opportunities and moved the ball down the field. They didn't run the ball nearly as much as they should have. They should have gone for it a couple times. They punted. And a couple times we were 3rd and 1 and we run stupid trick plays. We, the Raiders, lost this football game. We, the Raiders, cost ourselves a shot at the playoffs, not the referees, not the NFL. And if there's anyone out there, and I'm not saying that a lot of people feel this way, but there are some people who genuinely believe this. If there's anybody out there who thinks that the NFL doesn't want the Raiders to win, you're absolutely insane. Because when the Raiders are in the playoffs, the ratings of the playoffs just go up. The Raiders feel more like America's team than the Dallas Cowboys. And people root for the Raiders, unless you're a fan of other teams in the AFC West. So it's only good for the NFL to get the Raiders into the playoffs if there was a way to pull that string. But they don't do that either. The officiating has not been good this year. However, I would like for anyone who thinks that this is a poorly officiated sport to go watch baseball or basketball and then get back to me. Because in my opinion, basketball refs are the worst refs in the history of professional sports. Not entirely their fault. It's kind of how the game is called in that sport, but they are absolutely unbelievably terrible. The fact that they could give people technical fouls because they don't like the way that they're being treated. It's like, why do refs in the NBA and baseball have egos? The one thing about the NFL is that the refs seem to be robots. They just make the call and they move on. Bad call, good call, doesn't matter. They don't get into it with players like umpires, or they don't tee people up like soft NBA officials. So as bad as the officiating has been this season, and it has not been great, football is far and away the best officiated professional sport in America. Were they bad calls in the Colts game? Absolutely, without a doubt. That did not cost us our season. We lost a game by 6 to the Steelers. We lost the game by 6 or 7 to the Chargers. We lost a close game to the Vikings. There was a lot of opportunities throughout the season to make sure we aren't in this position. Look at the Kansas City Chiefs. That offsides, illegal formation play, whatever, right? That could have cost them their season if they were in our position. But they won more games than us. So they didn't have a bad call ruin their season. They were able to push through that. So, yes, we should be complaining, and we have a right to complain about those calls because you never know how the game goes if the calls go our way. That doesn't mean that was the reason we didn't make the playoffs. I just wanted to make that clear. Was this offsides? No. Was that pass interference? No. And we could have won that game, and we still had a shot at making the playoffs. That's not the reason we're not winning the game or missing the playoffs. It's because we didn't do enough this season. It's not a conspiracy. It's not rigged. It just is what it is. Just wanted to hop on here and give my 2 cents on that whole shebang. Shout out to my executive producers, my $10 patrons. If you want your name at the end of the credits, early access to videos, ad-free content, added subscriber league, fantasy football league, the whole shebang, Discord access. Link in the description below, patreon.com/ALLaBorde Raiders. Sign up there, cancel anytime. Please be sure to subscribe. It is free after all, no charge to you. I love you guys, and I'll see you next time. He was not offsides, to be clear. That's crazy that they called that. Unbelievable.